you and I met. And we became, as I learned in the Army, there's a special language, we became battle buddies. We met and knew that to serve is to live. And we've been fellow travelers for a long time, long before CADCA. And now all of us are privileged to celebrate what happens when a distinguished general retired and once again is called to serve, this time in the social sector, a sector hungry for the inspiring leadership our generals in transition can bring. I've just come back from 4 days on Cape Cod. It's my first time. I have never been there. And friends, I was their guest. They took me to Quincy, where my ancestors, John Adams and John Quincy Adams, were born and lived and lay side by side with their wives in the basement of a 372-year-old church. It was a very touching moment in the basement of this old church, 4 simple stone crypts with the American flag of his time draped over the top of the final resting place of John Adams. And over here, an American flag draped on the top of the crypt of John Quincy Adams. And I remembered all the stories my father told me as a little girl. And I remembered a quotation that I carry around with me in my bag, and I pulled it out. And this is what our 6th president said: if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. And then I touched the flag on the crypt of John Adams and proudly remembered what I value most about his life. He was the only one of our founding fathers who never owned a slave. So that was a Monday always to be remembered. Today is Tuesday, and I will never forget this evening, always to be remembered, never to be forgotten. So tonight, from my heart, I thank CADCA and all the friends of kids and friends of Francis who are present as I accept this honor. And I am grateful to everyone in this room because each one of you is committed, is passionate and determined to support our children, all of our children. They are our leaders of the future who in the end will sustain the democracy. So I accept this great honor, one of the greatest of my life. And may I say, God bless the children of CADCA. God bless all of you who serve. And God bless the United States of America.
I didn't expect to get inspired and get a history lesson. Thank you so much for your words, and thank you so much for your service to this nation. Man, now, see, I don't want to go back to work now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Young people are a central part of any effective coalition, and they can motivate their peers to avoid alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. CADCA's National Youth Leadership Initiative, or NYLI, is youth-led and adult-guided. So, let's hear now from two of those leaders. Please welcome Kayla Scarborough-Bell. She's with the Community Prevention Coalition of Berks County and the Reading High School Peace Project in Reading, Pennsylvania. And Nicholas Duclos, who's representing the CADCA NYLI training team from Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Thank you for having me tonight. My life is not a sob story or a story to be cried over. It's not meant for you to pity me. It is the reality that although the odds were against me from the beginning, I overcame many trials and tribulations with the help of close friends, school, my coalition, and my local Olivet Boys and Girls Club. I experienced many ups and downs throughout my life that may seem hard to handle, but in the end, they helped mold my character into the successful young woman you see today. I am a survivor who is constantly adapting to the task at hand. Although greatness is the goal, I sometimes fall short of my expectations and I need help reaching for the stars. I thankfully have the members of my coalition, Project Peace, and my wonderful advisor, Ms. Guthier, to help pick up the pieces. My early life wasn't always full of struggle, but the fact that I was born into a substance-abusing family altered my life in many ways. As a young child, I thought material things equaled love, and although my parents were around, they seemed to be preoccupied with something else. Up until about the age of 8, I was unaware of my parents' substance abuse, and I wasn't very interested in learning more about it either. It became real when I needed parental support the most, and neither one of my parents could devote their time or affection to me. Although my parents were there, they didn't really have the skills to raise children. By 8 years old, I was playing the role of mother, Playing the role of mother, which is a challenge to adults. Imagine how I felt. I had no real example of how a parent should be, so most of the time I felt very alone and confused. My daily responsibilities included cooking, cleaning, and caring for my younger siblings. Today, I can't picture an 8-year-old handling the responsibilities of an adult, which is why it is hard to imagine that I was ever strong enough to cope with it for the period of time that I did. At this time, my childhood was rapidly dwindling, and my life would never be the same. One day that I will never forget is the day my family structure shattered into a million pieces. A very typical day evolved into a nightmare. My siblings and I were placed into foster care. This life-altering change separated my siblings and I into two groups, and I ultimately lost my family in a matter of moments to a flawed system of a supposedly better life. This drastic change altered my family in ways that can never be fixed. I lost the connection to my siblings because we were all so far apart. Even seeing them today is like seeing random strangers because there is no bond there. After changing homes a few times, I was about 11. I returned to my hometown, Reading, PA. In a way, it was a reassurance of life, returning to the places I knew and the friends I once knew. Little did I know, things would eventually get better and the world wasn't ending as I had originally thought. In Reading, the Olivet Boys and Girls Club played a major role in me becoming an efficient leader. Olivets gave me incentives to be a positive role model. Moving back to Reading brought me closer to my parents, and after years of rehab and self-reflection, my parents gradually became involved with my life. After a couple consistent months of unhappiness at my foster parents' home, I moved back into my mother's house. At this time, I was 15 and everything was changing. It's a complicated relationship because there's a lot of built-up resentment towards my mother, and it will probably take the rest of our lives to resolve the hurt she caused my family. Regardless of the hurt she caused, the happiness she's bringing to my life is helping resolve some of my deep-down feelings. Our situation is a learning experience for the both of us, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to reunite with the part of my family that I thought I lost forever. With the change of parents comes a change of parenting, and I have more freedom now than ever. I became more involved with the Olivets and spend all of my energy trying to be a positive influence on my peers. Even when I try to be a good influence, some of my friends began to be involved with substance abuse. I can thank the Olivets for staying above the influence. My junior year was a very significant part of my life. The various experiences I encountered influenced me and helped to make me a better person. The school year opened off with a violent death in each month for 4 months straight. 3 of those 14 deaths involved alcohol or drugs. All were deaths due to guns. The constant reminder of losing friends and loved ones made me feel so bad because these students were so young and had so much life ahead of them. The fact that there were so many people being hurt broke my heart, and all I wanted to do was find a way for everyone to say goodbye and the chance for my school and community to unite. In October, after the second violent death, 2 of my peers and I organized a peace rally held on the steps of my high school. Surprisingly, there was a great turnout, and our message of peace was welcomed by our community. Sadly, there were 2 more deaths soon after, but that was all the more reason to continue working towards our goal of a peaceful city. In February 2011, I received an invitation to be part of a group that focused on change. The group later became known as Project Peace, a nonviolent, anti-drug youth coalition. During the first couple months, I quickly became a leader of the group. In a short period of time, we organized 2 middle school visits to promote nonviolence and drug-free choices. We also got involved with our local Weed and Seed coalition by attending meetings and helping to plan for local positive activities. One of our greatest accomplishments occurred on May 28, 2011. We hosted a citywide peace march with at least 500 participants marching from all corners of the city and uniting in the middle at our city park. The leadership role I played in the events hosted by Project Peace earned me the title of Vice President and the opportunity presented by Community Prevention Partnership of Berks County to travel to California to participate in an enlightening journey at CADCA's National Youth Leadership Initiative. The NYLI helped me identify the 3 parts to a problem and gave me a model to effectively create and promote change in my community. I formed an amazing bond with my peers and my advisor along the path of becoming an effective change agent in my community. Without the interactive learning experience of NYLI, it would be more difficult for youth to effectively promote change in our community and communities similar to mine all over the country. Looking back, I would have never imagined that there would be so many outside forces encouraging and helping me succeed in life. I will be eternally grateful that I have been presented with the opportunity of helping my community become a better place to live. I know sometimes it seems too hard to go on being a positive influence, but there's always something worth living for, and the fact that I can affect someone's life positively gives me some strength to endure another day. Being involved in my coalition opened many doors for me and helped me get out of my comfort zone and realize that anyone can make a change with the help of a supportive group of people all striving for a similar goal. Thank you. I would now like to introduce a new friend of mine, Nick.
So it looked like she couldn't pronounce my last name. It's Duclos. So I went a little bit of a different route. I didn't write a whole speech on paper. I kind of took my training experience and my training knowledge and wrote talking points, as Miss Karima taught me to do when we train. So I want to have a conversation with you guys, just simply talk to you guys about some of my experiences that have led to where I am today. I can remember this day like it was yesterday. I was 12 years old. I was playing a game of baseball with some of my friends. It was a typical afternoon, beautiful day. And suddenly a black car rolled around the corner. And I looked at the car and I was like, man, that looks a lot like my father's car. But I never see my father on a Wednesday, and definitely never at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I looked at the car a little harder as it got closer, and I saw that my older sister, Jillian, was in the passenger seat crying. And of course, I began to think the worst. So I ran up to the car and I said, "What's the matter? What's the matter, Jill? Why are you crying?" And my father looked at me with a blank stare, and, never in a million years would I imagine what he said to me. He said, "Your mother's using." I'm 12 years old, and I say, "Using? what does that mean, using? And he said, your mother relapsed, she's using drugs again. And then I understood, and I thought about it a little harder, and instead of taking the negative route that I could have taken, that's the day that my infatuation with understanding how I could play a part in fighting the good fight against drug and alcohol abuse, that's when it really began, that day when I was 12. So I moved about 20, 25 minutes down the street, and when you're 12 years old without a cell phone or without a car, that might as well be a continent. So I moved about 25 minutes down the street to Springfield, Mass. with my father and my stepmother, and things automatically started going downhill. The relationship never blossomed. My stepmother and I never got along. My father and I never saw eye to eye, and they drank about a 30-pack every day. So with that led a lot of abuse. So when I was about 15 and a half, I decided to take it upon myself to move out. I moved on my own. I moved back to Holyoke, Mass., the city I love. And I could talk to you guys forever about Holyoke. Volleyball was invented there. It was the first planned industrial city. I could go on and on. Just letting you guys know I love Holyoke. All right, so I moved out, and I moved on my own, about 16 years old. And then the first thing I did before even worrying about the bills that I was going to have to pay, the clothes I was going to have to buy, the food I was going to have to buy, before I thought about any of that, I thought about what were some of the things I wanted to do that I never got the opportunity to do because I was forced away from my home. And one of those things was to join my community coalition. I joined the Holyoke Youth Commission because my cousin Alex Morse, who is now 22 and a candidate for mayor in my city, and just won the preliminary by 1 vote. Yes. I had to plug it, all right? So anyways, I joined because of him. He was the president of the group when I was too young to join. So I joined the organization, and within a few months of joining the organization, my coalition advisor said, someone in this room is going to get a chance to go to Washington, D.C. and join me at the CADCA forum. And I had no clue what CADCA was, so I asked her, what's CADCA? And as soon as the words Drug and Alcohol Prevention Organization came out of her mouth, I raised my hand. And I said, I want to go. So she took me. So I took my first experience to Washington, D.C., and I met a young man, one of my best friends now, Kyrie Smith, who spoke at the same event last year. And we hit it off right away. He lives about 40 minutes away from me in a area with very similar demographics, so we hit it off right off the bat. He introduced me to the visionary, the amazing Miss Karima Abdullah, and we hit it off, of course. So about 2 months after the forum, I get an email, and in the email it says, would you be interested in becoming a trainer for CADCA? And I'm telling you, if there was a hidden camera, you know that $10,000 America's Home Videos prize? That would have been me. I'm telling you, I was freaking out, running around the house, ecstatic. And of course, I sent back an emphatic yes. And then the rest is history. So, the National Youth Leadership Initiative, if you guys don't know what it stands for, which I hope you all do, but it stands for National Youth Leadership Initiative. I emphasize leadership because every single young person who gets the opportunity to go through the National Youth Leadership Initiative program has the opportunity to come out an effective, bold, educated leader. Again, I emphasize another word, educated. We are teaching these young people strategies and information that is comparable to that of a college-level student. Some of these kids are as young as 12 years old, and they are not only grasping this information that we're teaching them, they're going back into their communities and affecting community-level change. So let's clap it up. I was just in West Virginia working with the NYLI Community Connections, Mr. Greg Puckett. He's somewhere in this room. Hey, Greg. And with MSU, and there was a story that really touched me when I was there. There was a coalition of about 3 or 4 boys that couldn't make it to the third week of our first year-long initiative, but in their community, and if you guys know anything about West Virginia, it's not very populous. And so this county was no different, and what these 4 young people did was amazing. They started a roller skating, drug-free, alcohol-free event in their community, a community that wasn't very populous, and they got 2 times in a row, more than 1,000 participants to come to this event and support their community. That is what CADCA is about. That is what the NYLI is about. On that note, I just wanted to say a few thank yous to some people that are very important to me. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Karima Abdullah, not only for the work that you've done for CADCA and the NYLI, and being the visionary and the amazing person you are, but for really seeing me for who I could be and who I'm becoming. So I appreciate you for that, and I love you for that. I'd like to thank Miss Teresa Bishop, who is not here tonight, but she's the lead NYLI trainer and a mentor to me, not only in the training department, but in the life skills department as well. And third and most importantly, and he gets praised all the time, but I'm going to praise you yet again, thank you, General Dean, for all that you do, the tireless effort that you put in, the 4-hour drive from here to West Virginia, which you worked in the back of that limo diligently for the whole 4 hours there and back. Don't think I didn't hear about that, because I did. And I just like to leave you guys with some parting words. Young people are the future. Young people are the now. Young people are our future politicians, future doctors, lawyers, magicians, artists, singers, the list goes on and on. It takes more than myself. It takes more than General Dean, more than Miss Abdullah, more than everybody in this room to make the difference we're trying to make. I have made the vow to do all that I can in my power to fight the good fight against drug and alcohol abuse and to make a better world for those that come after me. So I just have one question. Have you guys made that same vow? Thank you guys, and have a great night.
All right. Nice one, my man. I tell you, Kayla, Nick, sadly I know, as most of you do as well, there's so many kids in this country every day who start their lives off the way you did. But you are proof that it's not where you start. Sometimes it's not even where you finish. It's that you want to finish. And it's how much you want to finish. You take that DNA that you guys have and you spread that and make others want to finish as bad as you want to finish. God bless you. Now, once again, if these two young people inspired you, and if they didn't, what is wrong with you? You have to do what you can tonight to help CADCA train more youth leaders like these in 2012 and going forward. I have to encourage you to remember what you heard, remember what you felt, and make this campaign part of your annual giving. Now, in your programs that you have with you at the tables there, you're going to see a card there, and you can drop the card off outside on your way out here, or you can mail it to CADCA at any time. But every donation that you make, no matter what size, helps CADCA increase services to coalitions nationwide. It keeps making more Nicks, keeps making more Kaylas. It keeps making my newscast better. Please, 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 take the cards, make the choice. Make the choice to make this world as good as the people who have been on this stage have been making it. Now, we have one more person we want to recognize. Our Humanitarian of the Year. General Dean, Sean Thaxter, President of Reckitt Ben Keyser Global Pharmaceuticals. Come on up. By the way, she is a past humanitarian. He is a past Humanitarian of the Year. Sean, it's all yours.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I'm still buzzing with inspiration from our last speakers. I thought there really was absolutely fantastic and a really strong communication of what CADCA is all about and what has been achieved. But it's my honor and privilege to join General Dean tonight to recognize the 2011 Humanitarian of the Year. The Humanitarian of the Year award is the highest honor that CADCA's Drug-Free Kids campaign can bestow on an individual or an organization. Recipients of this award are recognized for all their outstanding philanthropy and national leadership, but especially for their attention to our cause. On behalf of Reckitt Benckiser, I would like to offer my congratulations to Colin Reed. On the 30th of April 2010, a historic flood hit Nashville, seriously damaging Gaylord Opryland and the Grand Ole Opry. Colin Reed and his team sprang to action to help save the legendary Opry, restore their hotel, and at the same time help the citizens of Nashville. Let's take a look at a video that demonstrates the very reason we consider Colin a true humanitarian.
Sometimes they are filled with so much adversity that they test the most hopeful among us. It is in these moments that we learn who we truly are by the choices that we make. Do we push forward despite insurmountable obstacles, or do we simply give up? On May 2nd, 2010, Gaylord Opryland and Attraction stars faced that very decision. This is our story.
When Monty had to pull the power because of the water, and you saw those majestic domes go dark for the first time, it hit home a little bit.
We just got word that the Grand Ole Opry House is taking on water.
The pictures from the Opryland Hotel,
It's unbelievable.
It just makes your heart drop. There's no telling when they'll be back up and running again, and they can earn their living.
There are hundreds of folks that work at the Opryland Hotel, you're exactly right, that work there every day that probably won't be back for a while.
They have no idea when they might be able to open their doors again.
But like every storm, the rain eventually stopped. And on the morning of May 3rd, the sun rose. And despite all the uncertainty during the flood and in the days and weeks that followed, there was one constant: the dedication of our stars. Nearly 6 months after the devastating flood that ravaged lives, homes, our attractions, and hotel, we are finally ready to open our doors and take our place as the world's greatest resort and convention center.
I just can't wait to show off what we've been able to accomplish in the last 180 days. We are going to come out of the gate better and greater than we've ever been.
We have made lemonade out of lemons.
There's a bond that's been developed out of this. Man, if we can conquer a flood, there's nothing that can come our way that can stop us.
We're back. We're back, world. Get ready. Here we come.